In this video, I'm going to be going over my rig for the Sony A7S III. Before I talk about the components of this rig, I'd like to talk about what I actually use this for. I'm a freelance videographer and my primary work lies in small commercial work for brands, product videos, narrative work, as well as car videos. Now, I'm not going to say that this is a cinema rig. I also have other things that I use this camera for, but this is my primary rig that I use for handheld footage. The actual cage I'm using is just a small rig cage, as well as a small rig red top handle. Everything that you see here is more or less on a quick release system. On the main cage of the camera, there's a lot of NATO rails that I use. The monitor simply just disconnects from here, and then I can attach it to any other NATO rails that I see fit. And also the handle is on a quick release system, which I can simply take off. This secondary handle or the grip that you see here is also on a quick release system. So I can take that handle off as well. And then it's on a RE rosette that I can simply untighten with this screw. I have it locked down a bit right now, and then I can adjust the position. But generally, this forward position is very comfortable. The only thing I don't like about this is that the handle sticks out so much. I'm looking to actually get in something that's a little bit tighter or make something custom. Going on the other side of the cage, I just have a small HDMI clamp I use here. This is just in case I actually bump this or something hits it externally when I'm actually working on set. And then going down to the bottom here, I have everything on a rail system, 15mm rails. And then on the bottom, I have attached a Manfrotto plate that I use for my tripods. As I mentioned before, the main body of this setup is the Sony A7S III. Now, internally, I can record 4K, 24 frames per second, all the way up to 120 frames per second, as well as I can shoot in 240 frames per second at 1080p. And then this is all at 10-bit color depth. Sony has come a long way with their color science, but I bought an external recorder for more flexibility. And this recorder is the Ninja 5. Now I can record 12-bit ProRes RAW on this, and I only do this for specific projects where I want the flexibility in post. I'm not going to shoot this for every project because it's not necessary. For my external recorder, I'm using a Western Digital SSD, and then I also bought a cage from Small Rig for my external recorder. I have experienced breaking monitors in the past, and I spent the extra $100 to actually buy a cage for this monitor. With the monitor, I also bought the SDI package. I like SDI connections much better, and then on a professional set, this is something anybody can tap into. And then this is connected to my wireless receiver and transmitter. This transmitter and receiver package is the Hollyland Mars 400S. The reason I have this is I have a secondary monitor that I use as a director's monitor. And when I'm on shoots where I have in a controlled space, a director's monitor is key for somebody who's directing, as well as just to view the footage that I'm shooting. Now going into the back of the rig, I have this simple cheese plate on a 15mm rail as well. And then I can tighten that down. And on the back, I just have a V-mount battery set up, and then that runs a D-tap right into my monitor. I don't really need this for anything else. This is just solely for powering my monitor. In addition to the V-mount battery setup, I also have a preamp attached to the other side. The preamps inside the Sony A7S III aren't that good. It goes with any mirrorless camera, so I bought this external system. I was looking at other external systems as well as the hot shoe mount for the Sony A7S III, but this would get in the way of my top handle, and this is where I went with this route. There's a lot of preamps out there, and the main issue I found is that none of them are really rechargeable. So this is the one on the market that I found was rechargeable. And this is simply an amplifier that I can plug an XLR input to, as well as a stereo input, which is a normal microphone. And then I can adjust my gain as well as my volume for monitoring with headphones. I know V-mount batteries are very expensive, and the one reliable brand that I found was Shape, which is based in Montreal, and then this is the 98 watt-hour version. And there's another alternative if you have a lot of NPF style batteries sitting around. I know a lot of Sony users, even Canon users do. And then this is a simple adapter plate which has a D-tap. So it takes two NPF style batteries and simply slots in. So I can unplug this here, hit the release, take this button out, slide this battery plate on, and then I'm good to go with the D-tap connection. This just gives me a lot of flexibility when I'm on sets, and I have two of these batteries, but it's easy to go through them when you have like 8 to 12 hours shooting. In the front here, I also have another set of attachment points for my handles, and this is just used for attaching the handle when I'm going on the shoulder. So that's my rig setup. The only other thing that I'm going to cover is the lenses that I use. The lenses that I mainly use are Zeiss 55mm prime that stops down to 1.8, this 105 macro lens by Sigma, also the 24-70 Sigma art lens that stops down to 2.8 as well. The next thing I want to do on this rig is get a simple matte box. The one I'm looking at is the Tilta Mini Matte Box. The only really lens filter I use is the Black Pumice by Tiffin, and that simply screws onto the external thread, but I want the flexibility of using actually bigger filters for more, I would say, beauty shoots and stuff like that. So glimmer glass, other Pro-Mist filters, even ND filters, or anything that I can get more flexibility with a matte box. So this wraps up the video and my rig. I would not say this is more of a cinema rig because I would buy a cinema camera. Yes, I invested a lot of money into the actual components of this rig, but this just fits the needs for my personal content and my clientele. When I need to upgrade to a cinema camera, I will either rent or invest the money into doing that. I know I don't talk a lot about gear in my channel, but if you guys would like to see more videos where I go into my setups, perhaps my gimbal setup, please let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching and subscribe for more.